Joe Yabuki from Ashita no Joe, or Tomorrow's Joe, is more than just a protagonist. He's more than just a boxer. He's someone I look up to, even though he's not real. I talked about the series Ashita no Joe in a short on this channel, though I don't think I covered enough details about this series to do it justice. I've talked about how good this series is in that short, and I ended up giving it a rating of 10 out of 10, a rating I've only given to two other series, the Berserk manga and the Legend of the Galactic Heroes anime. For those that don't know, Ashita no Joe is about a man named Joe Yabuki who is a wanderer and doesn't know what to do with his life. He gets into street fights, and one day he meets a boxing coach named Danpei Tange, who takes him under his wing. Not much later, Joe gets arrested for fraud and gets put into a juvenile detention center. In that center, he meets a guy named Kanichi Nishi, who he gets into a fight with and wins against. Later on, Nishi and Joe train under the same coach and become really great friends and boxing partners. But the main guy that Joe meets in this juvenile detention center, and who eventually becomes his rival, is Toru Rikishi, a seasoned boxer. This is the basic premise of the story, but I want to focus more on Joe himself. Joe goes through one of the biggest character developments I've ever seen in any story. And if you're someone who hasn't read or watched Ashita no Joe, don't worry. I won't spoil anything, and I hope you're convinced to read or watch it by the end of this video. From the beginning of the story, Joe is basically a nobody. Someone who's not widely known, doesn't have any marketable skills, and someone who doesn't know what to do with their life. The only thing he has are his fists, and these fists are two things that take him on a long path in this story. From this, he becomes someone who can fight against many opponents in the ring. He's powerful and determined, and that's what I want to highlight, his determination. Throughout the story, Joe is someone who's very determined to make his boxing interests turn to a career, and a successful one at that, but he isn't satisfied with just being able to enter the ring. He wants to be the best of the best. He wants to fight the best opponents, no matter how much the odds are stacked against him. And with all of the injuries he racks up, does he ever complain about them? No. In fact, he would rather jump back into the ring the next day. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but in the later part of the story, Joe gets hindered in boxing from taking too much damage to the head. But despite that, he continues to box, not caring about what he has to lose. He's determined to reach the top of the boxing ladder, no matter what hindrances he faces. He also has trouble staying in the same weight class sometimes, and when I see him try to stay in the bantamweight class, just because that's the one he's been in for his entire life, and where he's faced his most notable opponents, that's what really inspires me. Not eating and drinking, and even drawing blood just to lose a few ounces of weight. That's what I call real dedication to your craft. I was rooting for this guy throughout the entire show. I see a lot of motivational people today like Sam Sulek and David Goggins who constantly preach push beyond your limits. And I think if Joe was a real life person living today, he would fall into one of these categories of people. But what I really admire about Joe is that he will do everything he can to become the best in boxing, the field he wants to pursue. I find that motivational speeches and quotes are all good and very inspiring, but if you use that motivation for something you don't love to do, you're not going to get that far. To get better at something and to put blood, sweat, and tears in it for that reason, it's important to put that energy into something you enjoy, because it will all be useless if you do it for something you hate. There's one part in the show where Tange was trying to convince Joe to work at the local grocery market when Joe was experiencing psychological issues. But Joe declined, and he continued to pursue boxing. Every character in the show at that point didn't support his decision, but I did. I supported it because I believe that if you want to make your dreams become reality, you should do whatever you can, no matter how dangerous it is. Because in my opinion, it's better to live a short life where you can achieve your goals and make your dreams become reality than living a long life where your dreams stay dreams. I'm not saying you guys should do illegal things or purposely put yourself in danger or harm yourself to achieve certain goals. I'm also not saying to harm others to achieve your goals. That is definitely not okay. And whatever you do, please, for the love of all things good going on right now, don't be like this guy. If you know, you know. What I'm saying is that if you want to become someone like a boxer, firefighter, policeman, or someone in a dangerous field, no matter what anyone says to you, you should do whatever you can to get into that field, if you understand and accept the risks and consequences. That's what inspires me about Joe, because in an age of lost dreams and people constantly seeking alternatives to what they can do with their lives, Joe is someone who forges a path, creates a plan, and sticks with it no matter what the consequences are. I don't think there are any other anime characters like Joe, or honestly, I don't think there are many real life characters like him. This is why if you haven't read or watched Ashita no Joe, go do that ASAP. You can watch the full series on Crunchyroll and read the reprinted series, Ashita no Joe Fighting for Tomorrow, available from most retailers like Amazon. If there's anything you can take away from this video, it's that you should do what you want. Do what makes you happy. Don't spend a lot of time on something you don't want to do, even though it makes a lot of money. Make art, create something you're proud of, and create a life that you could be proud of when you look back on it. Be like Joe. Have his determination. Don't let anybody or anything hold you back. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've read or watched Ashita no Joe, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know in the comments. I find it crazy how an anime made in the 70s can be so influential today, more so than some of the modern anime. I don't know what you guys think, that's just my opinion. Megalobox is also a great boxing anime that I recommend that pays homage to Ashita no Joe. I'll cover that in a different video, but that's worth checking out after you watch or read Ashita no Joe. If you guys know of any modern style anime that's as motivational as Ashita no Joe, or is anything like that series, and when I mean modern, I mean something made in the 2010s and later, please let me know in the comments. I definitely want you guys to prove me wrong on my earlier point, because I truly believe there is a modern day motivational anime like Ashita no Joe that will blow me away. I just haven't found it yet. And as usual, if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another video of mine. Until then, I'll see you all in the next one.